Good evening. My name's Nicola White and I'm one of the deputy head teachers here at Woodland School. And we just wanted to take the opportunity this evening to talk to you a little bit about our home learning provision moving forward as of September. And the purpose of this evening really is to just share some information about the provision, but also provide you with the opportunity to ask any questions. So throughout the presentation, please feel free to put any questions you have in the chat box, and we will do our best to answer them. Please do excuse me if I'm looking down, it's because I'm just checking the questions, but please do feel free to add your questions to them. And as I said, we will try to address them throughout. So you should hopefully have received a letter about the new home learning provision, and pupils have had this information shared with them in assemblies over the past couple of weeks. And we started to look at home learning. Well, we've been looking at home learning actually throughout the whole year. We've worked with middle leaders, with pupils and with some other staff to kind of evaluate the home learning provision that we had, conduct some educational research into what makes the most effective home learning provision, and then design our own home learning programme here at Woodlands. So it has been something that we've been working on throughout the academic year, and we have trialled this provision with our current year 7 and 8 pupils. So we've done a soft launch of this half term. We've made a few changes on the back of that, but we're now in a position to share with our parents of current year 9 and year 10 pupils what home learning will look like as of September. Now, you are probably already aware that most of our home learning to date has been around Tassomai, which has been trying to support pupils develop their long-term memory. And now we're hoping to kind of add to that, to complement that. So just to reiterate, this isn't going to be to replace Tassomai, but it is very much to complement it. And our rationale behind this was to try to ensure that we had a formalised home learning provision. So home learning was set consistently across the school, and it provided a variety of tasks, not only encouraging pupils to recall knowledge, which is the purpose that Tassomai serves, but more importantly, being able to apply that knowledge and understanding using higher order thinking skills. And that was the purpose behind this, to ensure we had that programme that offered a variety of different tasks to support that higher order thinking. Now, I completely appreciate that home learning is not a particularly popular subject with our pupils, but research suggests that it is really, really important. Most obviously, home learning promotes effective academic performance, so it helps pupils to get good grades. And actually, lots of research has been conducted into this. The Department of Education found that if pupils spent between 2 and 3 hours per evening on home learning, and we think that's a little bit too much, but we'll get to the allocations later, they were 10 times more likely to achieve good GCSE results at a grade 4 or above. Equally, the Education Endowment Foundation found that if pupils complete home learning regularly, it equates to additional 5 months learning. So I think it's pretty obvious that one of the reasons home learning is important is to promote academic progress, to get good grades. But it is more than that. So we also feel it's important because it helps people to develop those vital independent study skills. It helps with self-discipline and it helps with time management. And they are skills that, yes, are vital for success in GCSEs, but also important for success later on when they leave us and they go into the job market. We feel like home learning can ensure that they have a full curriculum offering, but also that it embodies all of the principles of Arrow. So we, as I said, having conducted this research and having really carefully considered it, home learning is undoubtedly incredibly important. And then why are we making the changes now? Well, as I mentioned, we consulted with a range of different stakeholders about our current home learning provision, aka Tassomai, but also the additional home learning tasks that had been set previous to this. And what a lot of our pupils said was that actually it was set quite inconsistently. And there were pinch points throughout the year where they would be overburdened with too much home learning. And then at other times there would be no home learning. And they found that quite difficult to manage. So we wanted to ensure that actually home learning was spread out set more consistently and spread out. More than that, pupils commented that they got the same diet of tasks, so they were quite repetitive. So we wanted to ensure that there was actually a wider variety of tasks. And then some of the feedback from pupils was also that sometimes the instructions were unclear. So we wanted to ensure that moving forward, they were very, very clear about what the purpose of the homework was and what they needed to do. And then the other big thing was about ensuring that expectations for independent work at home grew gradually throughout pupils' 5-year learning journey. we were finding that pupils in year 11 in particular, when they were getting to their GCSE time, were becoming very, very overwhelmed. They didn't have the necessary self-study skills to be able to revise independently at home. And they needed support planning their time and working independently at home to be able to prepare adequately for their GCSEs. So actually the plan is with this home learning is that it builds gradually over a 5-year process. So the expectations increase and they get used to spending that time at home working. They get used to managing their time. And we felt that was really, really important. So that, as I said, kind of the rationale behind doing this. And as I said, please feel free to keep writing questions in the box if you do have any. So moving forward, what will home learning look like? So as I said, pupils will have their TASMI home learning, which they will complete as they've done before, but this will be complemented with rapid progress home learning tasks. And RAPID is an acronym which stands for different kinds of home learning tasks. So the first kind of task they could be set will be revise or rehearse task. That's the R. Pretty self-explanatory. They'll be asked to recall material or practice a skill. The second one, A, is for apply. So pupils will be asked to demonstrate their knowledge and their understanding by answering multi-step questions or more complex problems. P is prepare. So pupils will be asked to perhaps do some research prior to the lesson to enable lesson time to be spent on the higher order thinking skills. So that's the P, prepare. I is for improve. So that's often improving a piece of work. It's really important when you get feedback that you go back and you do improve that work and you have a growth mindset. So it might be to improve a piece of work. And then finally, D is for design. And that is when pupils are going to be asked to use their knowledge and understanding and design a creative piece with it. And the reason we've gone for that is because education research suggests they are the 5 key areas that are the most effective for home learning. So that's where that all comes from. So I just see there's a question. Will there be more home learning for the soon-to-be year 11s than the other years? I'm going to talk through that in a moment. Yes, in the sense that year 10 and year 11 in September will have the same allocation, and that is slightly more than the year 7 and 8 and 9 allocation. So it does grow gradually throughout their 5-year period, but I'll talk to you about that in a moment. We felt that was necessary, however, because of the year 10 and year 11, they are in the final years of their time with us. They are preparing for those GCSEs. So that time, more time is needed at home, as I said, to fulfill their potential. So in terms of how much home learning will be set, it depends on which curriculum path pupils follow. Generally, the majority of pupils follow the red pathway. And in the red pathway, per week, they will be expected to be completing 2 pieces of maths, 2 pieces of English, 2 pieces of science, 1 piece of their humanities, so either geography or history, 1 for their languages, and then 1 each for their options that they've selected. Now, we've gone out to staff and we've said pieces of home learning should not take more than 45 minutes. That doesn't mean that every piece will take 45 minutes, but that is the maximum it should take for pupils to complete. And we've said that, and we've spoken to pupils about this. That means that on average in year 10 and 11, if they wanted to do it Monday to Friday, and we appreciate some pupils have different commitments, and we'll talk to you a little bit about what we do with that later, they'd be spending about an hour and a half on their home learning every night as a maximum. Please let me stress that's as a maximum. If pupils are on the purple pathway, obviously they won't, and if you're a parent of a pupil on the purple pathway, you will know they will have either dropped their language subject or their humanities subject, but replace that with another option subject. So the allocations are largely the same, but rather than be set a piece in either the humanities or the languages, it will be in the additional option. And then the blue pathway, obviously they follow a slightly reduced curriculum provision. So they will be set 2 in maths, 2 in English, 2 in science, 1 in option A, 1 in option B, and 1 in option C. So that should reflect their curriculum offering. So as I said, that they are the allocations, 45 minutes maximum. I'm just going to answer a few other questions. Hello, does the year 7 have to do their TASMI on the summer holidays? We say that TASMI is a great learning resource. We've actually just come first in the country for our TASMI completion. I think 15 million questions have been answered by our pupils this year, and it's equated to an additional 45,000 hours of additional learning. So incredible statistics. Really, really proud of our school community there. It's a great tool. All I'm going to say is that they will not be sanctioned if they do not complete it over the summer holidays. Obviously, the sanctions are in place if they don't complete it in term time. But as I said, over the summer, if they choose to do it, amazing. But if not, they won't be sanctioned. So I've gone through there the different allocations for different home learning, and as I said, please still feel free to put any questions that you may have in the chat box. Just some other points to mention. So TASMA, as I said, will continue as normal, and home learning will be set under Rapid. That will be set on Satchel 1. So I would advise that if parents have not already got the Satchel 1 up, they do that, because then they can see what homework diet's being offered to their children. And on Satchel 1, it will make it very clear what kind of homework is being set. So it will give the relevant part of Rapid. So is it a revise piece? Is it apply? Is it prepare, improve, design? And then it will give the details of the task after. And then there'll be instructions after underneath that with more detail about what needs to be done. In terms of what's being set on which days, we did a lot of research into this about whether we needed a specific homework timetable to say that maths is definitely going to be set on this day, English has definitely been set on this day. And what we concluded was actually that's not necessarily beneficial. We don't want teachers setting homework for the sake of setting homework. We want it to be linked to the lessons learning, and we want it to be purposeful. So what we've said that per week, we're not going to have specific days on which homework is set. However, we are going to tell teachers that they must give 7 days for the pupil to complete that home learning task. And the benefit of that is it allows quite a lot of flexibility to suit pupils' outside commitments, because we think it's really, really important that they have extracurricular interests. That's really good for their well-being. We want them to continue to do that. It allows that flexibility. It also means that pupils can design their own personalised home learning timetable around those commitments. They know for purple, and red pathway, they've got 10 pieces a week. They can schedule that in around other things that they do, but they will never be asked to complete a piece of home learning for the next day. You will always get 7 days. So as I said, that allows that flexibility. And when pupils return in September, one of their tutor sessions will teach them how to make their home learning timetable. And actually, having done this with year 7 and 8, whilst originally some of them were up in arms at the fact that they've got to do more homework, when they saw how much free time they had, they conceded that actually this wasn't a big ask. So we will go through that activity with them when they return. We will also put that session that we deliver to them on the website. So as parents, if you want to go and have a look at how to build a home learning timetable with them, that information will be there for you. It is obviously an expectation that all pupils complete home learning, and there will be the associated rewards program and sanctions program if they don't. What we have said, and we know that sometimes pupils might forget a piece, it might get left behind. We know that always happens. So if for whatever reason they don't complete the piece of home learning on the deadline, students will instantly be set a 30-minute detention, often for the next day or the next available slot. They will receive a notification, as will their parents. But in the bulk of the notification, it will say, if pupils get the homework in within 24 hours, the detention will be cancelled. So there is leeway there. We are trying to be as reasonable as we can be there. Okay, so you might not have handed it in initially, but you've got the detention is set, but providing you go and take it to the teacher, so pupils have got to take a bit of ownership here. They've got to go and find the teacher and deliver it within 24 hours, the detention will be removed. We wanted to put it on there so parents knew that the homework hadn't been handed on time, but also we hope that parents would be able to support us in then encouraging them to get it done, encouraging them to bring it in so that sanction can be cancelled. So that's how that will work. As I said, sessions will be offered for pupils. So we're going through this with pupils. They've had an assembly already. They were going to go through it again in September with the home learning timetable. But all of those sessions will also be available online on our website for parents to support with that as well. And can I please suggest, if you see that your child's got a piece of home learning and they don't understand it, please encourage them to email the teacher, or you can email the teacher asking for more details about that. That information is all there to enable you to do that. We are going to make facilities available for pupils at lunchtime. So if they want to come and they want to work on their homework at lunchtime, that's available to them. And we obviously will be able to provide necessary resources accordingly. As I said, I've got a few questions which I will come to in a moment. That is the bulk of the information. As I said, that has been shared with you via letter, but if you've got any questions, please feel free to keep putting them in the chat. If I go to year 7 this year, does that mean I'm going to get my online homework logins and the timetables for the week. Yep. So if you are a new year 7, please do not worry. You start a day earlier than the rest of the school population. So you start school on Tuesday, the 3rd of September. And a lot of that time in that day is spent getting you logged on to the relevant programs that you need. So all that information will be shared with you. We know that you're obviously new, so we want to make sure you've got that information, but do not worry about that. We will make sure that the support is provided for you, and we look forward to seeing you in September. As I said, please continue to write any questions that you have in the chat. I will carry on talking for a couple of minutes, but obviously if there aren't any other questions, we will leave this chat earlier. But as I said, if you've got any, please feel free to put them in the chat. Teachers are very, very open, like they want to work with parents to support the children in completing their home learning. So as like I said, I can't stress enough, if you've got queries or if you're unsure, or if you feel like you're not sure how to support them, please contact the teachers. You should on your Satchel already have the people's timetables and who teaches them, and actually you can easily email them if you've got any questions. But we do encourage that, we really do encourage that. And as I said, we also want them to be proactive. So because they've got 7 days time to hand the homework in, if they've got any problems, they can come and speak to the teacher beforehand. Will the home learning be mostly a written or online task? That might depend. So I know, for instance, maths, they set a lot of Sparks homework, which is an online program. Other subjects might set online homework, but then other subjects may set written homework. And I think it's important that you do get that diet. It's important that you get your mix. Obviously, Tassomite is all online, but this rapid progress to complement it will probably be a bit of a mix, because as I said, we want that variety in your home learning diet. So I hope that answers that question. As I said, will continue talking. I don't appear to have many more questions, so I'm hoping that means the information is fairly clear. As I said, pupils should be aware of this because we have communicated this with them via assembly. We have asked them to raise any issues that they foresee already. So if they've got issues with resources or they feel like they're not going to be able to access that home learning, we have asked that they come forward and speak now, because we want to be proactive. We want to address that beforehand. So as I said, if you can foresee any obstacles, please, as I said, come forward and let us know, ideally before September, because what we don't want is pupils to get into a bit of a pickle come September, not get their homework and then get the relevant sanctions. We would much rather iron those issues out now rather than leave it till later. So as I said, if you can foresee any issues, please do let me know. And we hope actually, where possible, parents will get involved with this. So as of September, current year 6s will be year 7s as of September. So what we do as part of our induction is on Tuesday, the 3rd of September, year 7 will be inspected in school only. And as I said, on that day, we get you logged on to all of the necessary programs that you need. And then the rest of the school, so 8, 9, 10 and 11, join us on the Wednesday. But year 7 are expected here on Tuesday, the 3rd of September. Some teachers may set Sparks this week, although obviously there won't be any sanctions running next week. But do tell them not to worry, they won't get into any trouble, and we appreciate their diligence and their commitment to it. I imagine teachers will be setting them this week, but as I said, if they're not, tell them not to worry. I think it depends when they see them this week. Certain lessons may be missing because we've got lots of end of term things going on this week, so that might be the case. And I'm glad that you're really excited to join us. We are really excited to have you here as well. So that will be very, very excited. As I said, good. As I said, we look forward to seeing you and look forward to working together. So thank you for that. I'm going to give it 1 more minute. If we have got any other questions, please feel free to speak now. As I said, it's been a really nice project working on this home learning provision. We've worked with pupils, we've worked with staff, we've worked with parents, and it really has been a whole school community project. So hopefully you can all see the value of it and see how it's going to benefit us moving forward. I've about 30 more seconds. I'm sure if not, you don't want to talk. You want to talk to me for too much longer. But I don't think there's any other questions. The letter that went home has got my email address on it, or it should have my email address. It's nwh@woodlandschool.essex.sch.uk. It's been written in the chat box now if you do have any questions for me. And if you go away and you think of any questions that you've forgotten to ask this evening, please feel free to, as I said, email that over to me and I will be happy to help. All that's left to say then is thank you for your time this evening. I hope that's proven informative, and we really appreciate parental support in this. It is, as I said, a two-way thing here. We want to work together. So thank you for giving us your time this evening, and we look forward to working with you moving forward. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.